Welcome everyone to the show, Combustible Elements, real talk for real people. Here we try to put different ideas and perspectives together in a pot, heat it up, and get an explosion of knowledge and understanding. We understand that problems can only be fixed starting from the bottom to the top, building a great foundation for change and improvement. I'm Big Mel, and I'm joined by Ruben, aka the Monarch, and Aaron, the Hitman. Let's get started. Let's get started. Aaron, this is your topic. I knew nothing about it. We're going to talk about this and we're going to see where it leads. I'm going to be the one with the explosion. Usually I'm opinionated on the other side, but you guys are going to dictate my answers, whether I agree or disagree with your topic. So hit it. Hit it,
All
hit
right.
man. Let us know what's going on.
All right. So today's topic, I kind of left it open ended. But basically, we're going to talk about polygamy or monogamy. Uh, are you for it? Are you against it? Why not? Why? Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. We're having a little technical difficulties, but basically, we're talking about if you for or against polygamy or monogamy, or what's the difference with your views on it, not necessarily if you for or against it, like what's your views on polygamy or monogamy. That's basically what the topic is today. And
Okay, well, go ahead. Keep on talking. Keep on talking.
all right,
We
so
have a
for
little,
me
yeah, for you. Go ahead.
for me all right, can you hear us now,
Absolutely.
Ruben?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
All right, cool. All right,
Okay.
Ruben back. So the topic today, Ruben already know the topic, but I'm gonna repeat it. We're talking about polygamy or monogamy, and are you for or against it? What's your views on it? And we're just gonna jump right into it. For me, I'm not against um, either one. Like I'm for either one. Basically, I'm for either one. The reason why it just has to be a specific reason. Most people just want polygamy because they want to have, for males, they just want to have multiple women that they're having sex with or multiple wives. But on the flip side of that is, how would you feel if it was the other way around?
It's
If
good
it was
song.
a woman that
Yeah,
had
you too, man.
multiple husbands, like how would a man feel if if his wife wanted to have multiple husbands? Most men wouldn't go for that, but everybody, if they hear like polygamy and it's like, oh yeah, like I want multiple wives, like some religions permit having multiple wives. But is it for the fact that they want to have sex with multiple wives, or is it that they're cultivating you know uh a system, or cultivating a family system that spreads across generations? You see what I'm saying? Like, having multiple wives could create multiple incomes, which could mean that you guys are creating like a foundation where you're setting up your future seeds to have money. Or is it, I just want to have multiple wives or multiple husbands that can satisfy certain needs that I may have, like
Oh, wow.
things of that nature. So
Now I'm sorry, I don't want to cut
go
you
ahead.
off,
No,
but
no, go
I'm
ahead.
going
I'm gonna let y'all speak on it.
I'm gonna cut you off. So when you say it in terms of you're using as terms of long term, like matrimony type situations, because in today's society, a lot of people just call that an open relationship and they just do what they want when they want to introduce other people in that relationship, as
Right,
opposed to like saying, this is a permanent thing. You're going to be a permanent person. You're like my first wife. This is the second wife. This is the third wife.
right.
So, are you considering that when you come to your decision? Like, are you including the open relationship part in like today's society? Or you just concluding like it's going to be like a marriage type thing for each particular wife or each particular husband. Because
So
it might be second husbands. There's been cultures that had second husbands and not just like second wives
Yeah.
in
I don't know
history
if
of the world.
I don't know if polygamy and open relationship are really the same thing. I
No,
mean, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive those are like two different and separate entities
yeah.
altogether.
Yeah, it's two different things.
So
So the definition of polygamy, not if you don't know, it's like having multiple husbands or having multiple wives. That's what polygamy is. Uh, so it's not necessarily open. Like some people today might not even know what polygamy is and be like, "Yo, I'm in an open relationship." It's polygamy. Like that's not what it is. That's not what the definition of polygamy is. So like if
so I
you're in an
looked up
open
the
relationship,
definition.
okay, go
I
ahead.
looked at, it says the practice or custom of having more than one wife or husband at the same time.
Let's see.
A pattern of mating in which an animal has more than one mate. The condition of bearing some flowers with stamens only, some with pistils only, some with both or the same genre or different plants. So they got polygamy for zoology, they got polygamy for botany, and they got polygamy for us humans. But
So
definitely for us humans, it's the practice or custom of having more than one wife or husband at the same time.
So you see that. So the definition for humans is the practice of having more than one wife or husband. But what people don't know, they adopt the the zoology one where it's like, oh, I'm having multiple mates. Like I'm just out here having sex with multiple women or having sex with multiple men and calling that polygamy. Like they adopt the animalistic part of it while not adopting the human aspect of it, which is the marriage part, which holds you into a
So
contract. Go ahead.
so basically, if you ain't married, you ain't polygamous.
No, you
If
just
you
out
if you
here.
ain't if you ain't you just out here.
Yeah, you just out here.
You just doing what it do.
But now you said the mating portion of it, and you said the human portion of it. Is there a difference? Because we can look up a lot of instances where people say your human aspect, the responsibility for you to be here is to create families and kids. So now you're
Right.
talking about the mating aspect as far as involved with in terms of polygamy with multiple people. So is it really a difference
It is
between the go
because
ahead.
the marriage aspect part of it. So marriage is basically a contract. Like you sign in a contract, which locks in financially, as well
Yeah.
as like religion things like that. But financially, is a contract that basically plays on in our society with marriage. Like that's the biggest thing. Like if you got debt, if you got college debt, and your wife don't, when y'all get married, she has debt now. So that's a bonding contract. That's
But
financially like if I'm in an open relationship, me having sex with somebody is not giving them my debt. It's not giving them my wealth either.
Yeah,
true,
facts,
but
facts.
the world wasn't formulated on who's going to carry this debt and all these monetary things that we put in the culture now. So if you're going to bring up an old topic, okay, we got to bring up the concept of marriage in those olden days because the concept of marriage differs from wherever location you indigenous to. You know what I mean? Like the Native Americans, their view of marriage was different. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Certain cultures, if it was, if they had harsher elements, they were inclined to be, uh, they were inclined. What's a nice way of putting it? They were inclined to be consistent with doing polygamy because they needed people. Like you hear all the time people say the zombie apocalypse, the zombie apocalypse. Am I ready for the zombie apocalypse? They've been watching too much Walking Dead. But the reality of it is, if we had an extinction level event, then we would have to have more people. So you'd have to have more kids, which meant it would be more sharing. It would be a bunch of polygamy going on. So that had to be a portion of why it came about, not just the marriage aspect now. You,
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
of course, like, but that's back then. Like back then, they didn't have marriage where they had laws and stuff put in place. So like, of course, one man can be with 10 women and impregnate 10 women in one day or 10
They was
days.
bastards.
Yeah, so like
They
that,
had laws. They
huh?
had plenty laws.
Not against that. Like back then, even if you're reading the Bible, people had multiple wives. Like,
Yeah, they did.
but
They
now you
did.
look at it like,
Yeah,
oh,
they
like
did.
you're only allowed to have one wife. It like,
Listen, man, Jacob, Abraham, all these guys.
yeah,
It's funny. It's funny because like in the Bible, I grew up understanding that Sarah was Abraham's wife, and the other woman who he had his first son by was like a maidservant or something.
of
Whereas
his
like
wife.
and huh?
It was his wife's servant.
Right, but actually that's what they but in the Islamic religion, that woman was actually his other wife. That she wasn't just like some maidservant that he went and bedded and had a baby by. Like that is like the Bible essentially has his other wife coming off as like just some whore or just some chick or whatever. And in fact, in the Islamic religion, that's his wife.
Yeah,
But I guess because of the Christian religion, we they don't agree with polygamy. They don't agree with a man having more than one woman, even though all throughout the Bible, these guys had multiple women.
yeah.
um,
Most of the ones in power, let's call it like it is.
I mean,
That
you
was
gotta have money if you're gonna have multiple women.
Well,
You can't be out here broke.
That's the thing about
that's a
like,
whole nother topic now.
but that's the financial aspect part of it because I
It's
have
not a
two Muslim
yeah.
brothers, and one of my brothers, in order to have multiple wives, you have to be able to do for the other
Same
one
thing
that
for
you
both
can
of
do
them.
for the yeah.
They
So
both got to get treated equally. So if one got a house, the other one got to have a house. You buy one a car, the other one got to have a car. So whatever you buy, it's like you got twins. You got to do two of everything.
yeah, or
You give
three
this
or
one two
four.
kids, you got to give this one two kids.
Okay, let's get off of because now we're getting into what's making this really like interesting because the concept in this. Now, you guys said in certain religions you got to be able to provide equally for all the wives, even though I'm sure the first wife got to hold some sway over the other wives, but I don't know. So I mean I could be wrong. But now we get to the people that's in that relationship. Like, how can one person not be jealous of what another person has? Because if you do for one and you do it before the others, there's always going to be that, oh wow, they want that person first. Or say you got three wives and two of them had kids, but the third one didn't have a kid yet.
Maybe you don't want no kids no more.
Well, no, maybe she can't have kids. That's what I was getting to. Maybe the process is
Now,
slower, or maybe it's a situation where as though one is like brought on later on than the other, so they're younger than the other. Like there could be a lot of jealousy involved in that situation. I can't understand how that's going to work in today's world. Like, is
but
it
it
really
works
going to
though.
work?
It works though, and it works in a lot of different societies, and it works in places here in America. The Mormons have polygamy. They practice polygamy in Utah.
And they
You
do
know
it
what I mean?
in a different way. They might even have like your family. Like say you got a brother, Mel, and then you marry a woman, but the woman is marrying you and your brother at the same time. So it's like, y'all in there together, like y'all family. So like your wife is your brother
Well,
wife as well.
I don't like to share, so that's not going to happen. But with that being said, like I can understand the concept if that's what you were brought up into believing. But now, remember, the United States, they really you can't really say they practice polygamy because they can only marry one person because the law still says you can't marry but one person at a time. So you really only have, if you do get married, one particular wife, or you have a bunch of living people because you can't get married. The only place in the United States where you can get married that's not a violation of local law in that scenario, I think is, and I researched this, I think it's Somerville, Massachusetts. they voted Dill out at, but of course they have a large Mormon community down there, so it was something that they had to do for their community. But most other places, you go to jail, they throw you under the jail if they can prove
Wait, they could do what now?
it. They can actually marry more than one spouse in Somerville, Massachusetts.
At the
The
same
local
time?
magistrate will, yes, at the same time. Now, you might have other problems with the state if they come down, or the feds if they come down, but you won't have problems within that local government.
Interesting.
So what's
It
going
is
on
interesting.
is
When I saw that, I was like, hold it. That's when you hit the line and you want to know more about the town, because what the hell is going on? But that's the only place in the United States where you can actually do that in an official court of law and marry more than one spouse.
so how far is Massachusetts? Like a couple
What
hours.
you
Here?
say? You need to relocate?
I'm saying, I don't know the way Ruben was looking. We gonna have to travel to get to the barbershop now. I think
Nah,
Ruben was like, say what now?
I'm not moving to Massachusetts. If I'm moving anywhere, I'm moving west, or I'm moving out of the country altogether.
Yeah,
I ain't going east no more.
You don't want to go west. I'm just letting you know that now. That's a whole nother topic, though. You don't want west going under. West, Midwest to west is going under, man.
Everywhere is going under if that's the case. But sticking on topic now, with the whole concept of marrying, having two different spouses, I personally wouldn't want to have two different spouses, because having one spouse is enough, and enough in the sense of, like, if you got to deal with the emotions and everything that goes with being married twice, I personally don't see myself going through that.
So you with
well, now hold it. That's one point of view. Now here's another point of view. You got to deal with all that from one person. You just leave that other person, go to the other house. Right?
Yeah,
see,
but
the thing is, like, people are creatures of habit. So it's not like if you're gonna marry another person, you're gonna marry somebody that's completely different. Even if you think they're completely different, people typically like to choose the same thing over and over. It's like you buy, you find a shirt you like to buy the same type shirt. Or you find some jeans or some pants or some shoes you like. You typically like. Go look in your closets right now. I guarantee you, most of the outfits that you have in there are basically the same outfit, just in a different color.
yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, if you're gonna have multiple wives, or if you're gonna have more than one wife, that second wife is gonna be eerily similar to that first wife. They might not look the same, they might have different figures, it might even be a different complexion. But as far as like behavior, attitude, it's gonna still be a lot of the same things that you were attracted to from the first wife that you see in the second wife. That's why you're going, if you're able to, you would marry that second wife.
So you're gonna have 2 flannel shirts with different colors.
Exactly.
You always got to raise the blue, John. Like,
You know what I mean? You might want to today. What you want to wear the red one, and tomorrow you might want to wear a blue one. But it's the same damn shirt.
all right.
Yeah,
So,
well,
what if she want another husband though? What if you provide financially, but like you said, you don't want to deal with the emotional aspect, and she found somebody that's not financially stable like you are, but has the capacity to deal with her femininity in a better way than you can. Somebody that she can talk to, that can absorb what she's saying, and give her the knowledge and understanding that she's desiring on that level.
Is this question for me or Ruben?
Oh, it's for both of y'all, but Ruben said that he wouldn't want 2 wives, but what if his wife wanted another husband?
We'll let Ruben answer this one.
Okay, then it's to you too. So we'll let Ruben answer first, though.
Okay, go ahead, Ruben. What's your answer to this?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, like, I feel like I provide enough, and this isn't even a macho, your typical macho answer of like, yo, I do everything. So it's only. I know in my relationship there are a lot of holes that I don't fill, and partially is because some of them I don't want to. That's my toxic answer. I just don't want to. And then the other part is just like, I feel like when you're in a relationship, it has to be when if you're gonna marry somebody, you got to be more even. You know, and typically like the even I've from what I've seen in marriages is like 70-30. You know, 65-35. That's usually as even as it's gonna get. It's never really a 50-50. Someone is giving out way more than the other one is receiving. And the one that's typically receiving is never typically giving out as much as they receive. So it's like this 70-30, 65-35 split. Why would anybody want to sign up for that for two marriages?
So so would you be cool with her? You know, you admittedly your toxic answer. I'm not gonna fill those holes because I don't want to. So if she like, all right, well, I got
Right.
a best friend or I got a male friend that's willing to fill those holes, but I want him to be a part of my life all the way. So I want to marry this person.
Well, you can't have both. You can't because the part is it's like you I I ain't got no twin. I was born. I was. You can't have me and the other one, and not even because ain't no other man around, but it's more so like no, it's you gonna have to deal with the toxicity, or you gonna go deal with somebody else. Like like if you're gonna replace me, you're gonna replace me. I'm not gonna be a good team player. All right.
Okay.
Now I want to save you and cut you off here, Ruben, and I'm going to jump on the answer to this because I had time to think. I had a little bit more time to think. So to your answer to your question, your answer to it, Aaron, is would I be okay with? First of all, for you to be okay with it, you have to be okay with that situation where you want to approve other wives from your side. So if you're not going to approve other wives from the male point of view, you damn sure ain't going to understand it if she want other husbands. That's number one. Number two, you guys made it a point that the financial plays a part in it now. Okay,
Yeah.
so if I'm providing for my wife and she decides she wants to get another husband, well, that's supposed to mean she gonna have more, not less. Because I'm not supposed to be providing for her and then her other husband, her other husband is
Facts.
supposed to be providing for her.
You wouldn't. So like I posed to Ruben. So like if you provide financially, but you're not there emotionally for her, and you can't gain that capacity, or you don't want to obtain that capacity to be there for her emotionally, and she like, yo, I got somebody that
No. If
so
she wants to find somebody that's gonna provide for her emotionally, because I'm not doing that, and we agree to that, that's fine. But they better be able to provide for her financially. I'm not
Somebody else
doing.
gonna have to cut that check.
Yeah, like you have a responsibility now. You saying that I can't do it? Okay, well, at some point, you figure before you got married, you provided for each other, like emotionally, support wise, and then you grew, and then maybe one person needed more needs than another. Or you matured in different ways, and you haven't found that point where you meet in the middle. I can understand that, but now if you saying this is the kind of relationships that we're going to have, and we're going to get married to other people, then that person got to be still. He got to be improvement on me, so he can fill in all those gaps that I'm not doing emotionally, but he gonna have to be doing financially too. That's
so
just the bottom line.
so
So
then what are you there for?
to do my part financially that I've been doing before this guy came
All
in.
right, so what you're saying is if he supporting her on the emotional side like she needs while still supporting her financially, then you good with it.
If I was having other wives. But now,
So
since I don't have other wives, I'm not good with none of this.
so
Okay?
the only
I'm not good with none of this. Let's
the
be
only
clear.
the only way that you would do it is if you're allowed to have wives and she's allowed to have another husband. So like
You got a wife. I got a wife. He got a wife. We all got
yeah,
Right, right, right.
so like if y'all sit down and have like an honest conversation and your wife like, babe, like do you feel like that I provide you with everything that you need across the board 100%? And you like think about it, give me a couple of
I
days,
don't.
and you sit down and you're like, yeah, like 95%, I'm good. Like I don't need anything else. Like you provide me with everything I need emotionally, physically, spiritually,
Said
financially.
no man, said no married man ever.
Yeah,
Continue.
we good. And then
Ah,
so then you ask the same question, and she look at you and be like, "No, I had time to think about it. You only giving me, 60%. I need this other 40%. And are you willing to provide that? And if you're not willing to provide that, like you
I
can't
got
renege.
somebody lined up. I got somebody lined up
You
that's gonna
can't
provide it.
renege and be like, "Oh, well, hold up." Like, come to think of it, like I need this other 5%, so I need another wife. Like like that's just
Well, I mean, but now see, this is a give and take situation. Relationships, marriages is always give and take. And like I said during this conversation, people evolve. Sometimes you grow, but you grow at more of a quicker pace than your mate, or you grow in a different direction. You get different things that you like, that you become interested in. It doesn't mean that you can't adjust your relationship, because you always have to adjust your relationship. Anybody that think their marriage is going to be the same going in, towards the beginning, towards the middle, and towards the end, they done lost their damn mind. It's not going to work like that. We all mature differently. However, since I'm not cool with the topic anyway, as far as like, do you want another mate? Because I don't want another mate. So since I'm not cool with the topic, so when I hear that, my immediate response would be like, okay, can we find a way to? Because that's another portion of marriage and monogamy. When you come into problems, it's compromise. Can we find a way to compromise so you don't feel like you got to have another husband? Like, because you're not
so,
going to have two husbands, you're going to have one.
so she
And
like,
it's going to be the dude.
and she like, all
So,
right, cool. I want to have another wife then.
but now, see, I don't want another wife.
So if your wife came and told you that she wanted another wife to come into the picture, you gonna tell her no?
Probably so, yeah. Because the people that you really,
Now wait a
no,
minute. Now let's think about
seriously.
this.
No, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this for real, for real. When you really love somebody, you really not willing to share them with anybody else. You're selfish. You're jealous. You're like, it goes back to your like primal things. And then you talking about another wife. You talking about sharing everything that you share with your significant other with that new person. How does that shit work? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, if you can make me understand that, go ahead. You
It's
know what I mean?
ego.
Get that reaction. But
So
how does that work?
the first thing you gotta do is dissolve your ego, because that's the first thing that raises up in the man when you hear about your wife or your significant other wanting to be with somebody else. It's like everything reverts back to you. Like, oh, so I'm not doing enough for you. Oh, I'm not man enough for you. So now you need
But
something.
Damn
now
right.
see, but
So
now see that's a natural reaction too. But now once we get past the initial 2 minutes, you start asking yourself, if you care about the person, is there something else that I can do? And am I willing to do it? Because there are two different things. The fact that you ask yourself, is there something you can do? That's a plus. Now, are you willing to do it? Well, some people not, some people are. It all depends on the
That
relationship.
that's always something you could do. But again, like you just said, doing is the other thing.
yeah, so let's go back to the toxic response.
Right.
Yes, it is something I can do. Am I going to do it? No, I'm not. So either you do it or you don't.
But I mean, even you not doing it may be the end of the death knell of your relationship. But damn, the solution to your relationship is to bring in a whole new set of problems, like a whole new set of things that you got to deal with. That's like bringing in that's crazy.
Yeah,
That is just crazy to me. That's just my opinion on it. I don't see how that's going to work. It doesn't matter if it's her side, my side. I don't see how that's going to work. And I don't see how it's going to work in our culture now. As I said before, we were raised in different cultures, and
Yeah,
this was like
I
standard.
think
It
your
could work.
generation. I think your generation don't want to realize how much it's always worked. Honestly, it just worked. Not in the forefront. So for one, you know, I believe that a lot of men from the 50s, 60s, 70s era definitely had other families and other wives. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
and I know one.
So and
Yeah, I know one.
you hear a lot about, such and such has been together for 30, 40 years, blah blah blah. Yeah, he did. They were, because every time he went away, every time he went out of town, and he was gone for a little bit,
Out of
He had his
town.
other he had
Every
his other
time they said
family.
they were working. Out of town.
He had the
I
other
know
family.
about this topic a lot. A lot. But I'm just saying, like, you're right. You could get away with that
That
in
other family was
generations
keeping him
past.
sane.
Well, that goes back to what you're saying. When you get two flannel shirts, one time you might put on a flannel shirt when the weather's hot, and the other time you might put on a flannel shirt when the weather is cold. Like, they both don't have to be on the same clock if you had two of them and they were the same. So you had to deal with the same problems you ran away from, you know. But we're coming to the end of the show, so what is your opinion on it? Are you for or against it? We'll start with Aaron. This is your topic. You got 2 minutes. Go.
I mean, again, like I said at the beginning, I'm not necessarily against it. And as I said at the end of the show, it has to deal with your ego. So my ego is a little dissolved, but it's not all the way dissolved to the point where, you know, I'm willing to have another man a part of my relationship or marriage. And, you know, I don't want another woman a part of my marriage or relationship. Like, I am willing to do the work to provide on all levels, and my partner should be able to do the same thing. It's going to take time and it's not going to be easy, but you know, we should be willing to provide on all levels across the board. And you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Are you trying to sound like a playboy right now?
I'm trying to
That's what
say
you
that.
sound like. You sound like a playboy right now.
I'm trying to say like I don't want nobody.
Ah, you took the James Bond approach. You know what I'm trying to tell you. Nah, we going to Ruben right now. Go ahead, Ruben. What's your
Let's go
opinion?
to the toxic group.
I mean, for me, I'm one marriage is hard enough, so definitely wouldn't want to marry twice. Um, so that's gonna be a no. I don't. I'm not against polygamy, but I personally wouldn't practice it just because, like I said, like I have no intention on going through being married to two different women and having to deal with the emotional roller coaster that you have to deal with when you have a spouse twice in two different households with two different sets of kids. It's not enough hours in a day. It's not enough. It's just not enough. It's not enough. Even if I had a massive amount of wealth, I married two different women. Nah, that's gonna be a no for me.
Okay. Now, where do I fall in this? Okay, we already know where I fall. I can understand why people do that. I can understand if they brought up in that culture. I don't begrudge anybody for their decision. You see on TV shows how people make it work, even though the guys you see make it work on TV shows, they own construction companies. They got they whole damn complexes with different families, and they got their own houses. They got like 20, 30 kids, and they're okay with that. You know what I mean? But I just don't understand how that situation can work. It makes no sense to me. Like, how can you have two sets of wives, two sets of kids, two sets of in-laws? Like, it's just that's just insane. That's the level of insanity. You know, you just repeating and repeating, and then you ending up with the same result. And then you bring in, like, if you still want to have kids, you bring in younger wives, so it's going to be jealousy there. Like you said, like Aaron hit me with something that I didn't see at the beginning of the topic. What if they want a husband? So now you bring in other males in there, so now you're not the king of your own household, and you thought you was the king of your own household. I see so many ways that this could be like a real chemical explosion right there. And I personally don't agree with it, because I'm like, if you marry somebody, you're trying to work the stuff out with the person, you're trying to like grow with the person. Sometimes it may be difficult. Sometimes you might have things that you have to like reassess. But nevertheless, you bringing in another whole person that's supposed to be on the level with the person that you with. That's just crazy insanity. So I said no for me, but I don't begrudge anybody that does it. We need to have somebody on this show that's actually living that life, so they can tell us like the stuff that's in between what we come up with, because they done lived
I got
it.
some folks now.
Okay,
I know
well,
some
then you need
people.
to put some of them folks on here and let them talk, you know, and then we'll see where they lead with that. But I want to thank everybody for joining us for this show. I love the topic. As I said, if you have any comments, you have any things you need help on, any things going on in society you want to make us aware of, and see what we can do with that, please send a comment or send a message in the comments. Send a DM us. Let us know what you're thinking, and then we'll go from there. Once again, I'm Big Mel, Ruben the Monarch, Aaron the Hitman. Thank you guys for joining us for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed.
Peace.
How much time?